kind of like what Samit was saying earlier, where do you see that combination of physical and the DaaS side of things? Where does that see, or especially like bringing up mentioning of like mobile applications? Do you see us getting to that side of things on like a
I think
Windows front?
I think Sage, it's a great question, and we do see more and more applications being developed and coded around, like PWA.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, highly portable. You can move those across different experiences. You see the browsers having their unique interpretation of PWA. You see platforms like Teams that's becoming more of an application development platform to improve portability. I think
Mm-hmm.
that the question that you brought up initially, though, is like, where do applications live in the future? Uh, my belief, my vision, if I was able, had my crystal ball out, I should have brought one. It's broken because I always buy stock high, still low. If I get the crystal ball to actually work, but I think one of the notions that we have to explore in the future is applications should live anywhere and everywhere. A couple of two stories with some university students. I usually have the opportunity to lecture over at Indiana University because I live in Bloomington, and I also do capstone projects with students. And so, one of the things that I have asked students in the past is, being in a college town, we have an abundance of the crazy little electric scooters. And it's really easy to walk up to a scooter, scan a QR code, and go somewhere, including running over the locals. Um, the
There's no resentment in that. That doesn't sound bitter at all, Coop.
No.
You
just
haven't been clipped in the back of an ankle, have
no,
you?
never. But it brings up the whole notion of I can walk up to any scooter, scan a QR code, go to my destination, and move on. So one of the challenges I've talked to students about in the past is, wouldn't it be interesting if we would get to the point 5 or 10 years from now, being able to scan a QR code at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the week, or maybe the beginning of the day, to have what was the necessary and sufficient compute for your activity. That could include applications being hosted elsewhere, so the anywhere type of a notion. And then the other aspect is, I think everybody knows that we can build incredibly small CPUs, and so there is nothing that prevents a furniture company from embedding compute in every device that they make, and put it in floor tiles, etc. The technology is there. The issue we have is, how do you access the compute securely, and how do you trust that compute? How do you monetize? And so I think those are really two vectors that, if we can think about over the next 5 to 10 years, on how do we create simplification, how's compute everywhere, and how do we take advantage of applications that might become very diversified in their capabilities and the resources that they need to be successful. So that's Coop's big vision for the future, bringing that back to what customers need to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, hey, the future is subject to change. Windows 10, Windows 11 are by definition going to happen. 10's already there. Windows
Mm-hmm.
11, we're in
Well, we thought
the
10
second.
was the end all be all, and now we have
Yeah,
11
that's
now.
what I heard. The last version of Windows was Windows 10, and now we're hearing rumors of Windows 12.
12,
So we know that applications have to evolve and stay up to date. So how do we take advantage? And I think that's the work that Samit, you and I have. Hey, get our big brains down to how do we help customers today? And I think that is, how do we help customers accept change, embrace change? How do we help customers accelerate their transformation? And I think that's where technology that Rimo3 brings to the table actually helps customers, right? Analyze applications, can analyze applications every day,
Yeah.
which is really sweet. Being able to do that, identify applications. Sage, you brought up, cloud or physical. It should be both, but we also know I think the three of us and probably every one of your guest stars all know that applications don't always work in the virtual world just because they work in the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to be able to help customers say, make good and wise choices. I've got a couple of customers right this second. Hey, we're just going to put everything in a virtual desktop.
Oh, right.
Is that an absolute? Well, yes. If it runs on a physical PC, it's going to run in a cloud PC. And it's like, well,
love your enthusiasm.
No.
But
yeah, exactly. So how do we help customers deal with acceleration and transformation, acceleration of change, help them accelerate? How do we de-risk change?
Yeah.
I think that we do that through regular testing, a new security control, a new release of the operating system, a update to another application. All those can actually break applications. And historically, we all know that customers have sort of skirted the four-letter word called test.
Yeah.
We know that they don't. It's been incredibly difficult to test all applications all the time because that was a very labor-intensive cost. And now with Rimo3, we can actually, again, we can test every single day. We can test every other hour, set of applications. It's all done automatically. We can flag the applications that will work in the virtual world. You can help customers weave through all the applications that don't and go, I would never run these applications in the virtual world anyway. Whenever I said everything's moving to the cloud, I didn't really mean everything. I meant most everything, but not literally everything. And so we can help have those conversations with customers. And then I think very quickly, and this is where our HP Pro Services is evolving, is how do we help customers with picking the right isolation technology? I'm all in, but I also know today, and we're recording this almost in December of 2022, there is not an absolute Windows isolation technology. They all have pros, they all have cons. Some's better than the other for certain circumstances. So I believe, and I think Samit, you and I have talked long and hard about this. Is there a 100% guaranteed way to fully automate and produce a isolated application? And I think that we both tell customers now, hey, this is a conversation. You need to understand the pros and the cons of different approaches. And hey, not everything is going to be isolated. But when you can, you should, because the benefits are outstanding. And being able to leverage some of the automation that Rimo3 has brought on just validating, hey, this application is going to perform better in isolation, and surely to goodness would never perform worse. But hey, advising the customer, what is the impact of isolation on resources and performance and user experience is something that just really helps customers de-risk change. And so one of my big themes is, how do we de-risk change? How do we help customers through this whole inevitable acceleration of change? We can look every month at what has changed, is accelerating compared to what it was 20 years ago. Hey, operating systems didn't change but every 7 years, and now they change every month. And so how do we provide that de-risking?
Rimo3 fully automates pre-production compatibility testing, package modernization, and migration of your Windows application estate. From migration to maintenance, Rimo3's intelligent unattended automation eliminates the need for scripting, specific expertise, or complex configuration. Your apps, your workspace, our priority.